I'd like to call to order the Plan Commission on 8/5/25 at 6 p.m. Could you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, roll call.
Commissioner Graff. Here. Commissioner Kubaki.
Here.
Alderman Madden.
Here.
Commissioner Cieslak.
Here.
Commissioner Buckmaster.
Here.
Commissioner Bartlett is absent. Mayor Petfalski is absent. Planner Trisby-Towski.
Here.
Okay, and statement of public notice.
The agenda was posted and distributed to all news media requesting notification in accordance with the open meeting laws on Friday, August 1st.
All righty. And approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Okay, and consent agenda.
Resolution PC 031-2025, approval of 2 metal accessory structures for the Sharwani Saeed property located at S102W20444 Kelsey Drive, tax key 2280999003. And resolution PC 032-2025, approval of an extraterritorial certified survey map for Todd Oswald located in Wind Lake in the town of Norway.
Move to approve engross.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is approved. Okay, we have no old business for consideration, new business for consideration. Resolution PC 033-2025, approval of a building and site and operation plan amendment for GFL Muskego LLC located at W144 S6350 College Court, tax key number 2165998.014. Have a motion
Move to approve.
I'll second.
and discussion? Anything?
I can kind of go over the project. So this is a request for the GFL site located off of College Court. As you may recall, a year or two ago, this Plan Commission approved a complex of overhead fueling systems for compressed natural gas that fuel a bunch of their vehicles. So this is something the Plan Commission approved. They completed the project. It was very successful. It's worked out well for the site. It actually kind of helps keep the site a little tidier almost because it forces the vehicles to park in certain spots, which is kind of nice. So what they're looking at doing now is doing an expansion of these fueling sites. They're looking to add additional 38 sites, 15 along the southern side and 23 along the east side. 5 of the positions on the east side won't be available right away, but they'll kind of be reserved. There's an above ground tank that's kind of in the way right now that they need to get around, and eventually that tank will be phased out, which will allow these other stalls to be added. The new system is what they call a K-rail system. So it's kind of like a highway guardrail or a highway concrete barrier at the base, and all the equipment then is mounted to that or extending up from that. So this system is lower, which is probably a good thing, being that it's closer to the perimeters of the site. This area of the site also has like an equipment compound. That equipment compound will be slightly expanded to accommodate the new equipment that needs to go in there for this system. And that currently does have 6-foot white vinyl privacy fence around it, and that will be expanded to match what's already there to enclose that new equipment. One thing that was noted is that the entire property is surrounded by chain link fence. Portions of it have chain link with slatting. Some of it does not have slatting. As part of the requirement is this, and is one of the things the applicant has noted, is that there will be slatting added to the areas that don't have it along that western side or any of the visible sides where the equipment is, and that if any of the existing slatting is in like disrepair, they should be replacing it so it all matches. But other than that, staff recommends approval.
Any discussion? Nothing? Maybe looking for a vote? Motion.
It's been moved and
I think we
seconded.
already did.
Oh, it has? Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it passes. Resolution PC 034-2025, approval of building site operation plan amendment for Impro Gemini, located at South 82 West 18762 Gemini Drive, tax key number 221019002.
Move to approve. Second. Can I suggest we do all three together?
They all have some uniquenesses, at least in my opinion, that you could. I'll kind of give an overview of them all right now, and then you can kind of figure out from there. So yeah, the next three requests are all similar. It's all for Impro. They're either adding an additional parking lot, like the first request is on the screen now. It's adding an additional parking lot to an area that's currently vegetated off of one of their existing sites right across from the main building. The second one is off for Mercury. Let me just get the plan up for the Mercury one here. The Mercury one is an existing building that they recently purchased. This one is more so paving of a driveway or kind of getting to the back of the site, and it's going to be employee parking predominantly behind the back of the building. Some of that area currently is gravel, and the rest of it is grass, and they're looking at having that be a full parking lot. And then the third one, which is on Saturn Drive. The Saturn Drive property is an existing property that Impro has owned and used for a while right now. It does have an existing parking lot loading bay that's kind of small. They're looking at adding additional parking to that site to make it more functional and add more parking for their facilities as a whole. So all these requests are very similar. Like I said, the first and the third one are a little more visible. The second request on Mercury is not as visible as it's located behind the building. One of the things that kind of came up in our review was the topic that's been a topic lately is the idea of curbing versus no curbing. So that's one of the things that you will see listed in the supplements for each of these items is staff was recommending curbing, as we have required on other sites that have done recent parking expansions. They've had to curb the areas they were expanding, and any new developed sites that we've approved in that park have had to do curbing also. So this is, a topic that's come up on Janesville Road. It's come up on this park. So we did mention it. The applicant, I think, may want to speak to talk about that topic, but that was really the only main question that staff really had in these. Everything else seems pretty compliant with code. It would just be the question of curbing or not in there. So I don't know if the applicant wants to add anything.
Good evening, everyone. Craig Faust, Impro. I'm assuming that you've got the deck too on news. Yeah, so when we look at it, let's talk about Gemini first.
Is the microphone on? You might have to flip the switch.
There.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
Perfect.
sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'm short enough. So if we go to the Gemini one first, obviously that site, when we look at the request to waive the curbing, it's behind a row of trees. So that screening, we're going to keep it. We'll add additional, and nothing else is curbed, so it's not a visual that you can see from the road. So that's that one, and why we're asking for the waiver, along with, and then we're displacing 3 stalls that are in front of that as we enters that. And if you look at the entrance to our facility, which is nice, it's right across the street. That's already key coded, and we've got a lot of employees that go in and out. So this is a good addition and much needed addition to it. We wish it was twice as large as what it is. We'll relocate our garden, and then we'll relocate that shed, just slide it basically. Saturn building, if you look at that, the reason why we're asking for the waiver there too is we're just extending the current on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, the only place that would make any sense for a curb would be right where I don't want to say the landscaping is. That's got that sidewalk that goes to the front door. That actually is not even the front door. Everybody enters the side. But the other side of it, based on, it's all hidden by trees. It's hidden by visual. So you really can't see that either if you drove past and if you look at some of the aerials that are within there. And then the last one, everything's behind. And that's actually, we're paving it so that we have overflow, but the ultimate plan is to eventually, obviously if we can acquire more properties up and down, that's a temporary building. It's not big enough. We need to connect it and expand that at some point, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or whatever we plan for it. So this parking lot, really long-term, our goal is that there's a building sitting there at some point. So kind of sharing a little bit of vision and why we're asking for the waiver on that one too. So, and that aligns with all of the other buildings that we have in the plan. So, any questions or clarifications needed?
For Adam, the purpose of the curbing is to direct surface water or
That
aesthetics?
can be a purpose. That's not typically the purpose that we've been applying for lately. It's partially an aesthetic thing, you know. It, number one, helps people stay where they're supposed to be. You know, you can tell people to knock off the pavement all day long, but let's be real, people cut corners, people pull too far on parking spots. Problem is if we use parking stops, which has the alternatives, if you don't have curb and gutter, we have to require parking stops, is they're often not secured to the ground, and whether they are or aren't, they often get plowed off in the winter. So we've had a ton of issues with parking stops doing that job, which doesn't also help on the corners. And it's just kind of a cleanliness thing. It's kind of been the new norm for anything newly paved or newly developed in the park and anything in our more developed urban areas in the city. So it's not just a stormwater purpose. That kind of used to be an older adage on it. Some sites need it for stormwater direction. These will obviously have to be reviewed by our engineering to see if any stormwater is required. Probably not, I'm going to guess, because they're small nature. But that won't affect that, the curbing or not.
Yeah, and we had, per Adam's request, we actually had an engineering firm lay these all out and look at the whole site plan and everything for erosion and water control and everything as it ties into the rest of our facilities. So
You're asking for a waiver of the perimeter, correct? I'm assuming they're going to be lined, the lots will be lined.
correct.
Will there be stops, like in the middle of this,
You mean islands?
yeah, car stops in the islands, or?
On the, you're talking about on the, you must be talking about the Gemini one?
Yes, yeah.
In between, typically we have not done anything down the center.
Just wondering.
Just to Adam's point, plowing and everything else.
So they're just going to be lined and that's.
Correct. They'll be lined and then obviously hashed out where doors are going through and marking just like we do.
Okay.
If the plan, so right now the resolutions are all written to require curb and gutter. If that was to be removed, there would need to be an amendment on each to change that. And if we were to remove it, I think we would definitely need to require that all exterior parking have a parking stop. That is something we've required when they haven't had curbing. At least it achieves one of the goals of keeping people on the site. I wouldn't require it on any interior parking, as I agree that would make no sense, but on any exterior perimeter parking. So anything that abuts grass.
Anything that what, Adam?
Anything that abuts grass. So if a parking stall butts up to grass, it should have a parking stop if they waive the curb requirement. So like the center island on that one obviously wouldn't because it doesn't touch the grass, but you know, anything where a car could pull forward off the edge of the asphalt, we want to prevent that. So like on the case of the Mercury one that's up right now, it probably wouldn't apply anywhere because there's no exterior parking that's abuts grass spots. Mm-hmm. So the one that's behind the building, like for example, there would be no parking stops there because the parking stops are the parking is either at the building or an interior island of parking. So like the Mercury one, that wouldn't need it anywhere. When you look at the one that is closer to Apollo, that one has stalls that aim to the grass. So that one I would think you would have them for sure to keep people from pulling into the lawn. And then on which was the last one, the Saturn one, I would think you'd have it on any spot that doesn't abut up to the building. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't abut up to the building, that means it's abutting up to lawn or trees or landscaping. We want to keep people out of that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So are you saying where we don't have them, we'd have to add them?
Parking stops,
yeah.
If they waive the curb. First, I'm still recommending curbing. Okay. If they would say no to curbing, there should be no way to say no to curb stops because we want to keep people contained so they're not just pulling too far forward.
And when you say curbing, because like I noticed on the new building, you guys just redid the concrete. The only curb is against the building. There's no curbing.
On which building? Your building?
No, I'm talking about in your city, the DOT or the building that's in the same industrial park, right next to the water tower. You guys just redid all the concrete.
Yeah, it's not a parking lot. There's no parking stalls.
So there's no parking stalls there.
No, by the water tower, that was a water refilling station.
Okay. Oh, no, I'm talking about the building. the actual building.
I'm not aware of any parking they added by the building.
Okay,
If they did, it's news to me.
yeah. I mean, I just spent time going through the whole park, and I don't see a lot of curbing or.
We haven't had a lot of new paving projects in the park.
Okay,
The ones I
all
can
right.
think of would be, well, like Jewel Trucking, which was recently approved. Anything that wasn't fenced in had to have curbing. And Aaron, what was the other one? We just, it's on the southern street. We, like I said, there haven't been there's not a lot of big projects. Flores Automation. They added parking to one side of their spot. They added curbing along any of the new parking they put in. They didn't have to add curbing to any of the existing parking.
Craig, if you had an option, what would you pick, curb or stop?
If we had one of those two, it'd be the stops,
Okay.
because then we can remove them.
I've been through I mean, I've gone through, well, I know one very well, and the other two I went through. This, I think, falls outside of the criteria that I would normally force curbing gutter. However, I agree with the stop issue. You know, that should be in place, so I don't have an issue waiving in this case. And generally, InPro does expand. And
Yeah.
so generally that's the footprint, and we just don't have any issues with InPro whatsoever. So I have no problem based on what you said. So, yeah, so.
I would say. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say like the one that's on Apollo Drive, the first one in our packet, since that's such a new parking lot, it's kind of a branch of it. I think that could easily be curbed, and have the curbs around it, since it's kind of its own parking lot, that you're adding on to, kind of a branch of your existing one. That'd be easily curbed. The other two, the one that's on, Mercury Drive, that's in the back. So I'm not too concerned about, the part of the curbing in that one, in my opinion. A lot of the parking is in the back. It's fine. Wheel stops if needed there. And then the last one, since you're kind of piecing in the parking lot pieces, I think it would look kind of weird to have, parts of it curbed and parts of it not, because you're just kind of adding on to the parking lot, kind of piecing some of that in. That would kind of be, I think that would look a little weird too, to have some parts of the parking lot not, and then these other little pieces kind of curbed. So, that one, we're just adding a few some stalls, some extra asphalt there. That would kind of be what I was thinking. But I think the first one that is in the packet, I think that one, since that's such a new and kind of complete one, I think that one could be easily curbed. I don't know if anyone has any comments on that.
Anything? No? Do you somebody want to make an amendment to the,
Those we should probably do one at a time, just because they each have their own. So the first one would be the Gemini one.
right?
So on the Gemini one,
Yeah.
could you describe where the curbing is going to be? Is it going to be all around the whole perimeter of that lot?
If the plan commission requires it, basically from where it stems off the existing driveway that comes in wouldn't have curbing because it's existing. So as soon as the driveway comes off the main existing driveway and going in that little short section that goes into the physical lot, you'd have curbing there that would wrap around the exterior then.
How many stalls is that? I mean, I could count them, but
26.
26 stalls.
And there's got to be cutouts in curbing anyway to relieve surface water.
Depending on how it's designed,
I'm not a huge fan of curbing at all. Only for the purpose of runoff. I mean, you're going to pool water regardless of where you put any kind of curb cuts in. Aesthetically, I don't know. Curbs don't do much for me, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan.
we only suggested it because that's been the past direction of the plan commission. Otherwise, we wouldn't even bring it up to applicants.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a good.
Excuse
I want to amend to allow the waiving of the curbing got better for the site.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve as amended?
Well, so just-
You made a motion, he needs a
We
second.
have to approve the amendment.
But so you made a motion, someone has to second the amendment first.
Right.
And then you vote on it, yeah.
Right.
I'll second the amendment.
This is
Okay.
just for Gemini.
Yeah, that's for the
Yeah.
Gemini one.
Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
Now we need a motion to approve as.
As amended.
Right. Now, I'd like a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes.
Take your edit.
Perfect.
So
All right.
just so I can clarify, that's with stops.
Gemini?
Or Gemini is,
We typically require stops anywhere, period,
Yeah,
if they're,
If they butt the, right.
if they're touching, like I said, if the spot, if the theory is if they were to pull too far forward and
I
they
got
hit,
you.
hit
Yep,
grass.
I just
that's
want
our
to clarify.
concern.
Yep, okay, thanks.
Which is all of them.
Yeah,
On that one it is, yeah, but like on the next one, it's none of them.
Right.
Yeah.
correct.
All right. Resolution PC 035202025, approval of building site operation plan amendment for Impro Mercury located at West 188 South 8232 Mercury Drive, tax key 22210200001.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
I agree. I think this one could also avoid curb and gutter. So I move to amend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now we vote as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Amended, it's amended, approved. Okay. Resolution PC 0362025, approval of building site and operation plan amendment for Impro Saturn located at South 83 West 18770 Saturn Drive, tax key 2223008.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, another amendment?
I have a question on this one, though. I have a question. You mentioned there is curb on some of the parking area?
Not currently, no.
There's none?
Not on their
Okay.
side, no.
Okay. And, sir, did you mention that this building ultimately is in the plan because of its size to be renovated in the future? Is that the way you
Yes.
understood it?
This one and the other one, both were seeking additional parcels close to it to expand these,
Okay,
if we can
okay,
successfully.
yes, understood.
So this is not getting amended.
Well, I'm waiting to see how the rest of the commission goes. I mean, I have no
Okay. problem
going forward with this because I know they're going to more than likely expand it. Would be quite a waste to curb it.
I think our point needs to be, though, at what point do we kind of enforce our standard of requiring curb and gutter? Because we can amend it now, and I'm fully, I've already agreed twice, and I'm willing to do it again here, but at what point in our futures will we need to take a stand and say, yeah, it's gonna have curb and gutter?
Absolutely.
We have to challenge ourselves.
Yeah, I think we generally stay within, but I think there's always that. And when you're dealing with someone like Impro, I mean, they do what they say, and they're just
Totally understand.
an issue like some other. Yeah. So in this case, I just have no issue. I do understand what you're saying, too, but I would be willing to waive this under those circumstances, unless someone has a real need that they want to curb it. I mean, if the rest of the commission wanted that too, I'd be fine.
I move to amend,
Second.
removing the concrete, curb and gutter.
Second.
All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, all in favor as amended? Do I?
Okay, that's right, make sure there's a second.
All in favor is amended.
Aye.
Aye, okay. It passes as amended. All right, miscellaneous business, we
Thank
have
you.
none. Looking for an adjournment.
Yep.
Move to adjourn. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 6:26.